Okay, so today we have Tubeway Army and our friends Electric. Of course, the band Gary Numan was in before he went solo. And I haven't listened to Gary Numan in a while. I've only done Cars as a reaction. And this song has been requested a lot since then. And I'm excited to come back to Gary Numan and his band as well and see what this is all about. Over 5 minutes long, so we're gonna get a treat today and talk about it after. So let's go. Also, if you hear noise upstairs, I apologize, but they're a little loud. So anyway, let's go.
So now I'm alone. Now I can think for myself about little deals and issues, things that I just don't understand. I could white light at night, or it's like touch at times. I don't think I mean anything to you.
my gosh. Okay, all right. So, Two-Way Army, Gary Numan, our friends, Electric. Oh, my goodness gracious. Like I said at the start, I just love Gary Numan. He just seems like such a cool mother frigger, I guess I'll say. Before I talk about the song, I want to also say, I've learned about, Gary Numan has, I was going to say suffer, he doesn't suffer, but, Gary Numan has Asperger's syndrome. And also I've heard that people talk about how he has autism as well. Kind of that, it's kind of, around that same thing, but you know what I mean. And how he's talked about in many of his songs that, talking about with his lyrics about being lonely, facing loneliness and stuff like that. I guess really not wanting to form have, relationships or whatever, or not just not knowing, that people want to have a relationship with him maybe again. But anyway, so coming with that and talking about, loneliness and talking about turning basically to technology as well. I just love that he does that. My goodness gracious, I'm not choking up over it, but I mean, I just love that he does that. And, talk about, with those people who relate to him like that. And to, that there's this song out there for those kind of, for people that also, can just relate to what he's saying. I mean, it's just so cool that he did that. And again, it's just, far ahead of his time just for his lyrics and everything, but also just far ahead of his time just for the music. I mean, obviously, kicking off basically with synthpop, in 1979. I will say, there were bands, I guess, I think of like the Cars in 78 who also used synthesizers and such. But anyway, new wave bands kind of thing, which I guess you would say Gary Numan was too. But anyway, I can't get over this. I just love his voice, and I hate using the word unique. It's one of my least favorite words, but he had a unique voice. He had a different voice, a voice that I've never heard before. And the way he can just go, I love how he raises his voice and then how it will come back down, of course. And, at one point there where he, it's a spoken word kind of a thing, and he talks, it sounds like he's really talking close to the mic. And I just love, again, his voice just has almost, I guess you might say, I don't know if I said this in my other reaction to him, but it, kind of like a Bowie kind of a influence, it seems like, maybe. A little bit of David Bowie in there for me. But anyway, but also he does sound much like himself, whatever he does. He's incomparable almost. And again, I love his look, and even today he still looks great. I love the hair on him. But anyway, I can't fawn enough over Gary Numan, I guess. But anyway, like I said, he just seems so cool and just seems so relatable, and I've heard people call him a one-hit wonder, and I've heard other people, argue that and say no, he's not. So anyway, I just love everything about Gary, and I feel like maybe just because I'm not such a, I haven't, followed Gary a lot, but I feel like he might not get the credit he deserves. And yeah, he deserves all the credit that he should get or whatever, for what he did in music, and for, again, synthpop and everything. So yeah, anyway, like I said, just fawning over Gary right off the bat. But anyway, let's move on to, the song here. And again, just the synthesizers are played by Gary, the vocals, of course, by Gary, production by Gary as well. Just so, he's obviously so vital, obviously, here. And also, I do want to say, though, there was also, let me see the Wikipedia here, yes, Paul Gardner on bass, and Jess Lydiard on drums. I apologize. But anyway, and of course, like I said, Gary on Mini Moog and Polymoog, or maybe just Minimoog and Polymog synthesizers. I don't know how to say those first words. But anyway, synthesizers, of course, and guitar. So here, there wasn't so many instruments, but it just sounded so it was so all-encompassing. It was so addictive. Those synthesizers just are nuts. And again, I can't imagine being, around in 1979 if you're like 15 or whatever, just being a teenager and hearing this come out for the first time. And I would imagine that people were just kind of like, taken aback and being like, what is this? And again, even today, it still sounds kind of far ahead of its time anyway. I mean, just what a sound here. And yeah, anyway, just props to Gary for all of that. I can't say it enough. Holy shit. Anyway, looking here on the About here on Genius, like I usually do, it talks about this was the group's breakout single. It hit #1 in the UK and is arguably the song that kicked off synthpop. So there it is. It says, after the song, Gary Numan dropped the band name and started performing as a solo artist, which he released Cars, which also topped the charts and cracked the US charts as well. The song is about robots in the future that perform different services. So again, what I was talking about earlier, how you might not want to form relationships with people, or, you feel like you've been kind of like, used or something by a person. So you turn to something else. You turn to a robot, whatever. And again, that was ahead of its time too. Those lyrics, that thinking process, because now, of course, whatever, like 40 years later, obviously a lot of progress has been done with robots. And as time progresses, obviously, more technology comes out. It's just nuts. And again, it just seems like Gary was just on the pulse of everything that was going to happen, of the future, for God's sakes. I mean, I can't say it enough. Anyway, like I was saying, the song is about robots. They look human, so neighbors don't know what they really are. The robots can do anything you want, but in this song, this robot is a prostitute. So I just love that. I also see coming into this as well on Genius.com, like I was saying, there's an annotation here, and how Gary talks about in an interview, he feels like not a lot of people know that this song is about a robot prostitute, which again, it's just, who would think about that? It's just like, so it's just, and he doesn't really come out and say it in the song, because I guess, some DJs or whatever, some people might not want to play it if they knew, but I just love how sly he was about it. And again, his subdued vocals, and again, just a great voice. I was gonna say a weird voice. It's an odd voice, but it's just so nice. It's so cool. Again, I just can't get over it. It's icy cool, and it's just great. So anyway, yeah, really enjoyed what the song is about, and how we kind of put that in there, but the song's about, a prostitute who's a robot, because again, you don't want to get hurt by, a real person maybe, or whatever. Anyway, I want to look at these lyrics, and talk about them a little bit. So how he starts off the track: it's cold outside and the paint's peeling off my walls. And again, how he jumps into this, you can almost kind of not understand what he's saying, but if you listen, I guess, closely, you can, and especially if you're looking at the lyrics. Anyway, there's a man outside in a long coat, gray hat, smoking a cigarette. And again, I can't get over his delivery here. Now the light fades out, and I wonder what I'm doing in a room like this. There's a knock on the door, and just for a second, I thought I remembered you. And it goes on here. There is an annotation here, because I do want to look at some of these annotations just to get things right. So it says, Gary here, he keeps having flashbacks to this person, and he feels it may be them when he hears them knock on the door. He hears the knock on the door. Going on with the first chorus here, when he kind of, speaks. So now I'm alone. Now I can think for myself about little deals and SUs and things that I just don't understand, like a white lie at night or a sly touch at times. I don't think it meant anything to you. So when he says, now I can think for myself, of course, being alone and everything, he likes that. And think about things I just don't understand. And I don't know if he's talking, like again, or a sly touch or whatever. I don't know if he's talking about because of his problems, whatever, his Asperger's maybe, and that he just doesn't understand things as quickly as others might. So that comes to mind too. But again, there is an annotation here. And apparently somebody said, basically it seems like someone came to him needing something from him, and was being affectionate and touchy while asking. As it was happening, he was having difficulty processing the attention, again, maybe because of his Asperger's, but reflecting on it afterwards, he begins to realize that this was an insincere situation. So basically, yeah, again, they were insincere. They were just using him basically as a jumping pad, or whatever the hell the word I'm looking for is, a launching pad or whatever, using him to garner self-esteem for themselves, it seems like. Anyway, going on here, I hate to ask, but our friend's electric, only mine's broke down, and now I have no one to love. So when he says that, and I'm talking about, sex robots or whatever, and again, it seems like we're making a lot more progress on sex robots these days too. So again, Gary was on the pulse there too. Anyway, I just love everything about Gary here. Goddamn. Anyway, and basically it sounds like he's saying, mine's broke down, my robot's broke down, so now I have no one to love. And then he goes on, so I found out your reasons for the phone calls and smiles, and it hurts, and I'm lonely, and I should never have tried, and I missed you tonight, so it's time to leave. You see, it meant everything to me. So basically what seems like what I said earlier, there's a person, maybe a woman, whatever, who's, touched him slyly, whatever, and he didn't process it. But again, they were being insincere, but to him, he's saying, it meant everything to me, but then he's realizing it meant everything to me, but it didn't mean anything to you, like you said earlier. Basically, again, somebody used him for their self-esteem, and then they left him alone again, and that just seems like a recurrent theme for him. And basically, yeah, he's basically done with that, and he talks about turning into technology, it seems like, and talking about robots, and basically because again, only a robot can break down and won't leave him, but a real person will leave him or whatever, and you'll feel like shit. And so again, I just love everything about the song. Love what he's talking about. Again, it seems ahead of its time. And like he says, if the BBC had known what the song was actually about, they would have never let me go on Top of the Pops. So it says thumbs up for obscure lyrics, he says. So again, I just love this guy. Thumbs up for obscure lyrics. Hell yeah. So anyway, I've come to really love Gary Numan here. I mean, holy shit. Anyway, only 2 songs to listen to by him, but I'm intrigued as hell, and I really just enjoy his music. I love his sound. Sounds so different. And again, like I said, for 1979, this man was just great. So futuristic. He had everything going on. And yeah, I mean, I've talked too much here. I'm almost out of breath. But anyway, I guess that's all I got to say. So thanks for requesting Gary Numan so much, and friggin' what's it? Tubeway Army. My goodness gracious, that's such a cool name for a band as well. Tubeway Army. My goodness. Anyway, and the title again, Our Friends Electric. Maybe they are, and for Gary, they were apparently, even though if they broke down. So anyway, that's enough for me. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting, all that stuff. Really hope that I really showed here that I really enjoyed this. I mean, because I feel like I did, but yeah, just really enjoyed this track and everything. Gary, speaks for, stands up for, and yeah, again, he just seems like such a cool motherfucker. So anyway, thanks again for watching. I'll talk to you guys again soon.